89 years old. It's bagel time.
Well, it's taco time today. Oh, Dev, good to see ya.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that.
I love that you decided to keep your kitchen apron on.
Yes, I figured I'd still be functional today. Otherwise, if I take it off, then I don't function at all.
You can't function without a kitchen apron?
No.
I've seen you many times do that.
Well, I've developed since you saw me so many times.
That's what I'm talking about. You never stop developing.
I'm supposed to clap hands on that.
Yeah, we're filming. This is our first episode to film.
Oh, we're on film already?
Oh, yeah, it's happening.
Oh, smile.
Yeah, so the viewers will see that C- high five that just happened.
You want to redo that high five? Dev, are you pumped?
No.
Boom!
That's what I'm talking about. So you just had your 55th anniversary. How did that go?
It was a big celebration with the family, and it's sort of amazing. The number 55, to be married for 55 years.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. Agreed.
Thanks for clapping. There isn't another kind of response.
What'd y'all do? Did you have people over, hang out?
Yeah, we had family over.
That's great. Well, we're happy to be here. I remember that girl that... Remember when I told you that story about the 12-year-old girl I teach tennis to who set me up on a date with her teacher?
Oh, I didn't get enough details. Let's hear it.
Well, I ended up going on that date because Chris Italia, who was on this podcast, told me to go on the date, and I did it. And it was okay. It was a date. It was just one of many, I guess.
Has there been a follow-up to it?
No, but the reason is because there's another girl that I've, again, early stages, but that's been going better. So
Are you constantly in early stages?
That's been a pattern of mine for a while. Trying to break it, Dev. This one seems to have a little more promise to it, so we'll see.
Is there such a thing as psychotherapy for early stages?
Yes, there is, and maybe I need to get more of it. But so I went on that.
You're aging rapidly, and if you're just stuck with early stages, then the girl's going to end up being older or younger. I'm not even sure how you deliberate.
Was that a problem?
Can be.
Okay, all right, well, I know she always puts my life in perspective, so I'm hoping for the best, but we'll...
You have to get asked the right way, and then you can just respond.
I agree, but I have taken your advice because you called me out on this earlier, a few months ago, and I have dated with more intent, and I am happy with the situation that I'm in right now. So we'll just see where it goes.
So you developed with my advice?
I did, believe it or not. Yes.
Wow. You never stop developing.
You never stop developing,
especially if you get help.
Agreed.
Oh, all right. Well, I think without further ado, I will introduce our guest for the evening. Our guest today is Michael Hartney. Michael is the newly appointed artistic director of the UCB Theater here in New York City, one of the best theaters in the city. From improvising to acting to writing, you've done everything. He's done all. He spent years working at Herald Night and Lloyd Night and Maud Night at UCB, which are the most prestigious teams to be a part of. He was selected in 2016 as one of Comedy Central's Comics to Watch. He participated in the 2018 NBC Late Night Writers Workshop, and he performed in the New Faces Character Showcase at the 2018 Just for Laughs Festival in Montreal. His TV credits include The Break with Michelle Wolf and 30 Rock, just to name a few. And he was also a staff writer on TV Land's late night show, Throwing Shade. We're not done yet.
No,
45 minutes of credits.
You're going to work with us here. You're never going to be done.
This makes me sound so much more successful than I am. I love it.
We'll finish this. Since he's been at UCB, he co-created the Characters Welcome House team and is responsible for selling out the new theater regularly. I was there last night. Amazing shows constantly, always selling them out, building a community, and doing amazing things as the new artistic director. Welcome to the show, Michael Hartney.
Thanks. You didn't even mention my Broadway credit.
Oh my God.
I was on Broadway, baby.
I have that later in the episode.
I'm sorry. It was a spoiler. I'm sorry.
Damn it.
What is your Broadway?
I was in School of Rock the musical.
Yes.
Did
I know,
you dance
weird, right?
and sing?
You know what? There is so little choreo that it could be considered no choreo. However, the ensemble of School of Rock was nominated for an Astaire Award that year. Probably because
dancing?
correct. So I am
For the lack
I
of
am an
dancing?
Astaire Award nominee.
Well,
Truly, there's some like walking with purpose. That's about as intense as it gets. The kids do a lot of choreo, but the adult ensemble, it's a lot of like walking through hallways and like maybe moving a panel. It's very rudimentary, but you know, that nominee certificate is bronze and on my wall and in a hyperbaric chamber so the corners don't yellow.
I love we read every credit except the one that you clearly care most about.
Oh yeah, no, it was.
What's the one he cares most about?
Well, I mean, that has to be a big
You know,
moment.
I don't know. I like that I've done a lot of different stuff. So the totality of the credits is what I like.
Oh God, that's an answer from a true professional right there. Yeah, so I want to go to the beginning. So you grew up in Buffalo, correct?
I did, yeah.
Yes, Dev.
We didn't know each other.
We didn't. We passed like ships in the night, Dev. How
there
did we
are
do
ships
that?
on Lake Erie that
There sure
that
are.
do that.
Smaller ones on the Niagara River.
Yeah, right.
They have to be careful.
That's why we left.
Yeah. Oh, you left. You left because you were afraid of the falls.
Well, it's more complicated than that.
Okay.
But you're here now. So that's good. Both of you are here now. So you
It's
made
true.
it. You
We
made it
made it.
out, or
We did it.
whatever. But was comedy like a part of your life when you were younger?
I've been obsessed with comedy, yeah, kind of for as long as I can remember. But I was not like this, proactive kid who started a comedy group in his high school or his college or anything like that. I was just like, oh, the stuff I want to do isn't here, so I'll wait until I get to where they do it, and then I will do that.
And then you'd recognize what that was while you were waiting.
Exactly. So I enjoyed it and consumed it, but I wasn't a practitioner of it until I moved to New York after college, which is crazy.
Did you study? You didn't study comedy in college?
I studied acting, so like I did a lot of comedic acting.
Where'd you study acting?
At the University of Buffalo.
Oh.
Got my BFA in theater performance.
They didn't have it when I was there because I've been gone for so long.
I think I was the first or maybe second year of the BFA program.
Oh, wow.
So it was very new at the time.
So you knew you wanted to be in performance and your parents were cool with that? Like that was something...
Yeah, they were very cool. They never tried to deter me or steer me into a more practical, less fully illogical, so idiotic choice that I've made. And yeah, to their credit, but also shame, obviously. They were very encouraging.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good.
Yeah,
That's
it is
super
awesome.
helpful.
Because, yeah, not all of my friends were as lucky.
Yeah, well, I was there too. I went to marketing and it was like...
Oh, yeah.
Just a terrible path. It's like, get me to comedy.
Right.
So it's good that you found it early. So you studied acting in college.
Yeah.
And did you...
Who was your teacher in acting at University of Buffalo?
Who was my acting teacher? Her name is Maria Horn. She is a Strasberg-trained actress, so she really put us through it with like teaching us method acting. It was really
terrific.
It was amazing. Yeah, I mean, I still use the techniques that I learned in college.
It's so interesting because like I don't remember a single finance teacher I ever had. I remember every improv teacher, every comedy teacher. I'm like, yeah, Doug Moe, he was the best, and he taught me this. Like you remember those people like
Sure.
head on. I couldn't tell you another one. Something about comedy.
Yeah.
It's magical. It's magical. So you moved to New York. You're in Buffalo, and then you graduated, and then you started. That's when the comedy.
I mean, I guess I was, like I don't know, in high school we did like we'd always host the talent show and like I'd write sketches for it. But there was no
That was Bennett High School?
Kenmore West High School.
Kenmore West, okay.
Oh, we're getting inside Buffalo now.
Beef on weck? You like a beef on weck?
Sure.
Okay.
What is that?
That's roast beef on a Kimmelweck,
Kimmelweck.
which is a salted Kaiser roll with caraway seeds.
Okay.
It's
I don't know if that sounds good. I'm like, yeah.
It's a
but-
Buffalo specialty.
It's a Buffalo
It is?
specialty.
Okay. Well,
We have wings. We've got beef on weck. We have sponge candy.
sponge candy. That I'm interested in.
She good. Miss Sponge Candy, she good.
Oh, I love it. But then you went to the American Comedy Institute. Is that correct?
I did.
Was that an enlightening comedy moment?
I mean, yeah, it was.
It's happening too now.
Well, I thought I was gonna looking into the light. I was gonna move to Chicago. I was gonna just like, oh, where Improv and Sketch is happening is in Chicago, so that's where I'll go. And then my department chair at UB found me in a hallway and was like, hey, I have this. I found out about this program in New York. It feels like exactly what you want to do. And so I looked into it and I visited New York and I talked to the guy in charge and I was like, yeah, I'll do this. And it was a 1-year program. So
Where was it located? What?
the American Comedy Institute, like like where Shetler Studios is, like on 54th Street. Like 2 floors below that. I think it was called the Michael Carson Studios.
Was a guy handing out flyers for the institute?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. I thought it was going to be this like very cutthroat, hyper competitive program, and it was like, oh no, everyone who pays goes to it. So that is true, but it was okay because everything's what you make of it. So I learned how to do stand-up. I wrote a bunch of sketches. I, learned short-form improv techniques, which I knew nothing about. We took a commercial audition workshop. So really valuable stuff. And most importantly, it provided like structure in my first year in New York where, boy, oh boy, did I need some structure. Because otherwise it would have been so overwhelming. Like too many options.
Totally, I can relate to that.
So it was great to have like something I knew I had to do for a whole year.
Yeah, because you do that.
Yeah, I
you
do
learn
that
it.
thing. I don't have to scramble. I don't have to flail. I know what I'm here to do. So the scrambling and flailing, of course, took place after that.
Yeah, then that's done. Now it's real.
But by that time, I had the hang of New York at least.
Yeah,
So-
and you had like a baseline education in comedy, so you're
Yeah.
not sitting there like trying to figure it all out.
Right.
What did you like of the sketch and improv and stand-up? What resonated with you the most?
I think I liked of the sketch writing class that I took with a writer named D.B. Gillis. Just because, I don't know, sketch is my favorite thing. So getting to work on the sketch portion of that program was so fun. Because it was like, oh, this is why I'm here. This is why I moved here. This is what I've been thinking about doing forever and ever. So
Was it the game aspect of it?
no, not because the American Comedy Institute didn't teach like game or call it game, so I didn't learn about that until I went to UCB. But just in the way that some people are method actors without ever having learned the method, they just instinctually are that way. Like there are people who never studied UCB style game based sketches, but that's the way they write sketches.
Yeah, you can pick up on it from what you see.
Yeah, you just have a natural feel for, it's just instinctual for them. Like, oh, I understand what makes like a short comedic piece funny and I know how to heighten this idea.
Yeah. Could you break down game? Because people that are listening probably
Break down
is
game.
that a hard thing?
Yes, I'm exhausted already just thinking about how to quickly
Break
do
down.
it.
I know. I'm picturing people not understanding exactly what that means.
So game is just the underlying comic idea of a scene. So UCB characterizes it as an unusual thing, a combination of an unusual thing and whatever the reaction is to that unusual thing. So like Debbie Downer on SNL, for example, like her game is she is a dark cloud and sees the negative in any situation, and the reaction to it is that her family hates her.
Yeah.
And that's the game of that sketch.
Yeah, you had a fun one. It was really simple, but it was a fancy lady in unfancy places. I heard about that on some podcast, and I just couldn't stop laughing because it was so ridiculous, but so I also could see it.
Yeah, I think that was an improv scene I did on my first Herald team, the very first show. I think the initiation was like, oh, so this is McDonald's.
So this is what?
McDonald's.
Oh.
It was a woman treating McDonald's as though it was this very high-end, ritzy experience, which it obviously is not. Especially in Manhattan, baby. Those are bad. McDonald's is our real bad.
Oh
here.
my God! It's like a homeless. You can get crack and a cheeseburger in the same place.
It's really rough. It's really bad.
Yeah, I try to stay away. Although I did go to one the other night. So what are you gonna do?
I mean, sometimes you have to.
You do. So sketch was your thing. When did you start doing improv? I guess that was in college, but when did it resonate with you?
So, my first like real taste of anything improv was taking a Second City workshop. They came to the University of Buffalo, and I was like, well, I'm gonna show them how GD funny I am. And of course, I looked like such an ass in this workshop, and could tell as it was happening. I'm like, oh, I think I'm good, and I'm not, because I have never done this. Like, being naturally funny is not the same thing as being good at improvising, which was a hard lesson learned that fateful April day. So then when I moved to New York and we got to learn short form improv at the American Comedy Institute, that was super fun. And I knew once the program was over, like, oh, I got to start taking classes at UCB because that's what everyone's talking about. So that's, yeah.
So you flocked to. So after American Comedy Institute, UCB is step 2.
Oh, yeah. I think my first class was weeks after I finished at the American Comedy Institute. It was like, on to the next thing, got to do it. But then, affording classes in New York on a salon receptionist's salary is challenging. So, it took a while to get through all the classes, but yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. So, and it had that reputation at the time. What year was this?
So I started taking classes at UCB in 2003. Like, I'm sure my first class was like May or June of 2003. And yeah, like that's just, you'd pick up Time Out, and every comedy listing was a sketch or improv show at UCB. And it was like, oh, this seems to be where, and also very famous people are here all the time. It seems like this is where the heat is. This is where it's happening. So yeah.
Yeah, and just for everyone who doesn't know, Amy Poehler and who other people started with her?
Yeah, so it was Amy Poehler, Matt Walsh, Matt Besser, and Ian Roberts, the UCB 4. And at the time that I started taking classes, they all still lived in New York and were there every Sunday night improvising their signature show, Ass Cat.
Which is still hot. It's still running.
Yeah, still running, baby.
I love that show. It's been a while since I've been, but they're just amazing.
Yeah.
So what was the culture though like of other students at that time at UCB?
I can't say I have a really clear take on it, because I wasn't that guy who ended up hanging out at the bar afterwards, or ending up on a million practice groups with all the other students. I sort of like went to class, went to the shows with my roommate. So like I wasn't even like hanging out with like my classmates. I was just hanging out with my roommate some more. And it was kind of an insular thing for a while for me. So it was only once I I got onto like an indie sketch team, and I started doing shows all around the city and meeting people. That's when I sort of got any sense of what the vibe was in the city.
Yeah, so sketch writing was basically what was driving you forward into this community.
Yeah, I think sketch is what introduced me more to the community, because I was taking improv. At the time, UCB wasn't even offering sketch writing. It was just improv.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and I knew I wanted to do sketch more than I wanted to do improv. So I was also just trying to find my way onto a sketch team, because that's really where my passion was.
Yeah, and so outside of the indie team, how did you eventually get on to a mod team?
So this was in 2009. So this is a cool 6 years later. That's a long ass time,
That is
right?
a long ass time.
I was doing
Long-ass
just
time.
yeah.
Okay.
I know my vernacular is horrific.
Well, your
I apologize.
vernacular, it's part of what's going on in the world.
I guess. I suppose.
That's where we've gone as a society.
Yeah.
From long time to long ass time.
Calligraphy on parchment to long ass time.
Woo-wee.
So I think back in the day, the mod team audition requirements were pretty lax. It was like, are you interested in auditioning for this team? Go right ahead then, sir. Like, I think it was pretty simple. Now you have to like have taken a number of classes and prove that you're doing a bunch of sketch comedy around the city. Like, you kind of have to. There's just too many people interested, so you have to whittle down the herd a little bit. But back in the day, it was like, have you acted once? Congrats, you have a mod audition.
Damn it! I wish I was around during that time. That sounds nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd been doing sketch for years and years at that point, and had a lot of characters I was excited about showing them, and put together an audition, and I thought it went okay. But then I got on. So
Was that your first audition?
yeah, that was my first mod audition. I had auditioned for Harold many times by then. Always a pure, unadulterated disaster.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, can you break down the difference between Harold, Mod, and Lloyd? Because I'm sure people are like, "What, Harold?"
So Harold teams are UCB's improv house teams on Tuesday nights that do the Harold. Lloyd Night, which I think was created in like 2012, that's basically the JV of Harold Night.
What's
so
the
they
JV?
also junior varsity.
Thank you.
So they are sort of the, for lack of a better term, like the farm team for Harold Night. So Harold Night is cast out of the people who are on Lloyd Night, if that makes any sense.
It's beginning.
Do people go to Lloyd and Harold, or do people jump straight into Harold, or is it necessary?
So when I auditioned for Lloyd, which again was years and years after auditioning for Mod, in 2013, there were a couple people in my group who went straight to Harold. I was not one of those people. but I think it was only 2 people from that group. One of them had already been on Harold Night, was cut, and then re-auditioned and went straight back to Harold. And then it was another person's first audition, and she's just a genius. She's Jenny Hagel. She writes on Seth Meyers. She's amazing. And she went right to Harold Night, and I don't think that has happened since.
Wow, that's amazing.
Who knows?
Yeah. So if you can hear Bruce talking on the phone right now, it's just part of the show.
It's a busy household.
It's a busy house we have here.
Time stops for no podcast.
Oh no, it doesn't. Nor should it.
Absolutely.
Just let the man. I don't know what he's talking about. Huh? It's probably the wrong number, and he's just continuing that conversation. No, you take a left at West Side.
So yeah, does that help with the differences between these teams?
Yeah, I think that
Mod is sketch comedy. Harold is improv comedy. Lloyd is also improv.
But how is Lloyd different from Maud?
Lloyd is improv, and Maud is sketch.
So
And there was another sketch.
Harold is improv also, and Lloyd is like junior level Harold. Does that make sense? I know.
Dev
it's
is
sorry.
just like-
It's like Scientology. It's like this. It's just this like vast. You just have to learn all of these vocab words,
and you have to experience
and
it.
it's exhausting.
Listening
Yeah.
to it now, it's
we got to get you to a show, a Lloyd or a Harold show at its finest. Like a good improv show at UCB is.
Yeah, we got to get you to go clear. We got to put you on the bridge. I'm just kidding. That's more Scientology nonsense. I'm sorry.
to go clear as a Scientology.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Scientology. Well, maybe I'll learn.
Maybe it's good that you don't
No, I
know
think
enough.
you're much better off
Not knowing anything is quite enough, I think, when it comes to Scientology.
Yeah. So at this point, you're sort of cracking a sketch. You made a Lloyd team, and it took you what 10 years to make that team?
Yeah. I mean, not that I was just sitting like trying literally the entire time to get on a team. Like there was a lot of life to live in between. And
Are you going into descriptions on that level too?
What's that?
Will you be giving us descriptions of how a lot of life to live existed outside of these central subjects?
Oh, yes. I mean, please. Like being a single man in New York City in your early 20s, like that is an exciting time. And then I also had to support myself. So I first worked at a salon in the Flatiron District, which was fun and then became a nightmare. And then I worked for 8.5 years as a waiter at a theme restaurant in Times Square.
Oh, God.
Which was horrific.
Which theme restaurant, might I ask? Can we give them a plug real quick?
It rhymes with Flanet Crawleywood. And I shan't give them any more advertising.
You're just looking at the Terminator thing like, I'll be you one day, Arnold.
mean,
I'll get there.
What a nightmare. No, I would look at pictures of Mike Myers and Dana Carvey on the wall and be like, I'll get there.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't really want to be an action star, it turned out. Didn't think I was quite cut out for that. So then, I was doing a bunch of sketch comedy shows throughout the city, would get like the attention of an agent who, I started doing commercials. So I was doing commercials while I was, before like I was on any teams at UCB, I was like starting to make some money acting and stuff. I was doing theater. Other stuff happened.
Ooh, that's what we want to know about. What was that stuff?
Yeah, what am I getting at here?
You can take a moment to breathe if you want before you continue.
I'm good.
We can also give Bruce a chance to finish this 45 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
He just keeps getting closer and closer to us, talking louder and louder.
He's
like Jaws.
giving
It's
really
just
terrible
like-
directions.
I said left, goddammit.
I met my partner, so like developing like a relationship takes time.
Did that help? Did that help your comedy and your career? Did things get a little more aligned as you got in a relationship? I'm just curious.
It was certainly it certainly freed up a lot of time that was being spent trying to get laid.
Yes.
I suddenly had so much time.
Not getting laid.
No, I was getting laid, but I just didn't have to find it. It was readily available. It was like going to Costco and buying like all the Oreos. I didn't have to like keep going like every few days to get a new bag of Oreos because I had a whole bunch of it at home. You know what I mean?
I'm getting it, but I wouldn't like. I'd appreciate a little more description.
Oh, wow. I mean, I could draw you some pictures.
You got into a relationship.
And the Oreos were now readily available.
Sex Oreos.
I never heard of
Oh, now I get it.
sex. I never heard of sex Oreos.
I just made it up.
It is an analogy.
A
I
pretty
thought
bad
it was
one.
a function of age and living on the west side.
There's black and white cookies here, I guess. Sex, black and white cookies.
Sex black. That's the Jewish version. I like that.
Yeah, so just like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's like you're doing the city. You're doing a little here, a little there, and you're getting that little traction.
I was a writer's assistant for the pilot presentation of the Big Gay Sketch Show. Have you heard of that show?
No, I haven't.
It was on Logo. It's where Kate McKinnon got her start. Rosie O'Donnell executive produced it. It was like, it was this cool, like, brief little gig. So, like, I was trying to make stuff happen in the industry pre getting on a team at UCB. So, but it all was good experience kind of leading up to,
and you said you did a little stand-up, right? Was that kind of like a test thing, or did you?
I did it, because the American Comedy Institute, like one of the days, like Mondays or whatever, was stand-up. So by the end of the year, I probably had, 20 minutes I was kind of psyched about.
Yeah.
And then
Are we gonna have?
I stopped doing it.
Can we hear some of that now?
Oh, hells to the no, you can't. No, I don't even.
Because that first 20 minutes you get in stand up is good for you, but then once you reiterate
it'd be so dreadful now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It worked at the time.
It might not be dreadful now.
No, I think like I had a big bit about Shakira. She's a singer. She's like a pop singer who had her biggest fame in the early to mid aughts. So like the Shakira material, I'm telling you right now, it would not kill now. I had a lot of material about like having just moved to New York from Buffalo. None of which I personally connect to anymore because it's been a while. Yeah.
But I guess the moral of the story is like you did sketch, you did improv, you did stand up, which is pretty rare. A lot of people stick to either two or one, but did having all three, like how much did that help you?
I guess I like having, I like not being a jack of all trades, but at least like dipping my finger into every trade and just seeing, oh, this is the skill set required for this. I decided like stand up felt very isolating and that it like I like collaboration and stand up just doesn't feel like that to me.
So you went into sketch.
Yeah, and improv. I don't know, I like bouncing ideas off of people. Yeah, it just felt more my vibe.
Yeah, there's much more of a community aspect to the whole sketch improv scene. And stand up, there is communities, but it's cliquey and there's little hubs and you're on your own.
Yeah.
There's more of a competition than a group feel at times.
Yeah. It's also changed a lot since I moved here, but like at the time, like as a gay man, it was not like so fun to hang out at comedy clubs.
Is it now?
I think it's better now, but it
there's some
felt
really
a little
big gay
hostile back in the day. Like every comic on an open mic would do like not nice gay jokes, and then I'd get up there.
Oh, that hasn't changed.
Oh, good.
If you go to open mics,
I'm sorry, I was giving this era too much credit.
Yeah, go like a real club. If you go to a club, yes, because there's so many gay comedians coming up in the city
who are great and who are successful.
It's making it, comics are kind of having to have to accept. Okay, so now you've been working hard. What was like? When did it start opening up? When did you get a manager, and what were your first big opportunities?
Oh my God. When did I get a manager? So I don't know. My relationship with the industry has always been a fraught one. So I was on this sketch group called Skeeger. So this is long before I got on Mod Night. And I stand by. We were funny. We did really fun shows. Do you have any
videos we could see of that?
Oh my God, they are truly on VHS. And if you know someone on Earth who has a VHS player, please let me know.
I think they literally do. They do. There's one right.
Well, I should have brought a Skeeger tape over and we could have watched it. So an agent saw that show, called me in. That's how I started to book a bunch of non-union commercials, which was great. And then I think someone saw... So then I was on another sketch group called Secret Hospital, which was still a couple years before I got onto Mod Night. And a manager saw Secret Hospital and started sending us all out on commercials and stuff. And every so often he'd get me a crumb of something even bigger. So like I booked 30 Rock through that manager, which was really fun. I got to do a fun little scene with Tina Fey. How exciting. So then in 2011, I went to LA because I was in the CBS Diversity Showcase, which is like a sketch showcase for industry, and got a manager out of that. Then through that manager and a couple of good pilot auditions, I got an agent. But then I went back to New York because pilot season was over, and I missed my partner and I missed New York. And so I went back, and, you know, when your reps are on one coast and you're on the other, it doesn't work out for long.
It's like
so
a long
then
distance relationship. It's the same.
So then, so I found myself without reps once again. I was doing a character showcase at UCB, and I saw that my agent in LA was calling, and I had to like not take the call because I had to go do this character. So I did this character. I crushed. I listened to the voicemail. It's like, call me. So I call. He's like, yeah, you're there. I'm here. Let's not do this anymore. I was like, cool, that makes sense. But then SNL was at that showcase. So then I got to showcase for SNL that year. So that was cool. So I showcased for SNL that year. Then another manager that I'd been talking to throughout the year, because he was repping a good friend of mine, a guy whose solo show I directed. So then I started working with him. And then through the second SNL showcase I did, I got my agent. And then my agent moved agencies and did not take me with.
Oh my God.
So I'm currently agentless. So yeah, if any super agents are listening right now, like, snap me up.
Well, I hope this proves
crazy
valuable
talented.
to you.
What's that?
I hope this evening proves valuable to you, but I can't figure out how.
No, this podcast is my big break.
Yeah, this is it.
Are you kidding? It better be. I'm putting all my eggs in this basket, so...
What you should be doing. That is fantastic.
Dev stands for development deal, right? I should hope so.
That's amazing. You got Comedy Central's Comics to Watch in 2016. What did that mean to you? And what was that?
Oh, that was great. So yeah, Comedy Central they had done stand-up Comics to Watch for so long, and then they started branching into variety. So they had, in 2015, they had showcases for that. So I did a set. It was really fun. And they asked me to do Comics to Watch that year, but the show was the night of the second night of previews of School of Rock. And I was like, that's a little early to be calling out of School of Rock.
Yeah.
Night number 2. So I respectfully declined. And then the next year in 2016, I saw that they were doing showcases again. And I was kind of bummed because I was not on the showcase. It's like, oh man, that's
when you had it, you were busy, and when you won it, it's not there.
And then I found out, oh no, you weren't on the showcases because they want you to do it this year. So then I got the Comics to Watch that year, which was really fun.
Wow, and that was a character showcase you did.
Yes.
Where do you pull your characters from? And do you have like an one you did from that stood out to you?
God, what did I do that year? Oh, sure. I did a character called Your Friend Who Moved to LA. So it was basically, you know, like a vapid, maybe shallow LA person, who then is begging their visiting New York friend to live there and move there and stay there and keep them company because they're so cripplingly lonely.
Yeah, it gets more and more desperate. The truth comes out.
So spending a lot of time in LA as I have, I feel I have license to make that statement. So I did that. I did something called Every Phone Call with Your Father, which was based on my actual father, who will talk to you for like 20 minutes about like how his garden is doing in Buffalo, New York. And then right at the end, it's like, oh yeah, and your mom's having surgery. Anyway, no, that should have been number one on the agenda, Dad.
It's a double
actually.
bypass, no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I did that. I just, you
just
comb
pull from
your life experience.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, do you believe that every character has to come from that real
I don't.
place?
Think you can. I think especially if you're doing like a character set where there's all different types of characters and you want a big breadth of material, then something that's like purely conceptual and off the wall bonkers that has no basis in reality is fun for 1 minute of that set, for example.
Yeah, don't make it go the entire
Yeah.
I've seen that done before and you're like, ooh.
But if it's like based on your dad, based on a friend of yours, based on like a crazy situation that happened in your past, and then there's one that's like, I'm a coffee filter, then that's fun.
Yeah.
I'm a coffee filter.
Yeah, just something kind of heady and conceptual and obviously not based in any real life experience.
Did sound fictional.
Yeah, I've never been a coffee filter.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Reincarnation, it's a beautiful thing.
We're always developing.
Yeah. And then, so you got a staff writing job at MTV and JFL New Faces. What did that mean to you, getting JFL? Because that's for any comic, it's a pretty big rite of passage.
Yeah, so that one was a goal of mine for years and years and years. I started very seriously doing character work. I mean, I always had been, but really focused on that type of work in like mid-2012. Justin Tyler, another comedian, and we started doing these workshops at UCB where we'd just work on character monologues and character sets because, it's a lot of people at UCB, like, it's a huge dream of theirs to, like, get to be seen by SNL or whatever. And if you want to be seen by SNL, you better have some characters. And there wasn't, like, a character class or a character show or anything formalized that taught people how to get good at that. So it's like we're not setting ourselves up for success if we don't know how to put together one of these sets. So we started just putting up characters for each other, giving feedback, getting our characters really tight, taking like the best minute of every character and try to put them together into some sort of set. So when the JFL auditions started rolling around, it was exciting because a bunch of us felt really prepared all of a sudden. And I never had a JFL audition that I thought was bad. I thought most of them went really, really well. And frankly, was surprised and disappointed every year when I did not get it. So I thought last year would be just more of the same. I'm going to do really well in front of this audience, and then they're going to go with someone younger or hotter or whatever. So it was very exciting to get it. It's nice when you have a goal for a long time and it happens.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
You do all of this stuff. You got the salon job. You're doing this, and then something. The validation.
Yeah.
How many years did you audition?
That was my 4th year of auditioning. There was after 5 years, because there was 1 year they didn't even see me at all.
Oh, really? They were just like,
Yeah.
You're not even on our radar.
No, sorry.
I wonder, because you said it, and I've heard this a lot from people who do get it. It's that time when you start going, whatever, I'm not going to get it. I'm just going to do and then that's when you end up getting it.
That's what happened to me.
Gotta let it go.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just I just wore them down.
So the name of the game is persistence. That's really...
Yeah, I guess. Because I don't think I was like super thirsty or something, like transparently thirsty in my earlier auditions, and suddenly was relaxed enough. I just think it was like, oh, this guy again. Let's just please give it to him.
You did it.
So we don't have to keep. I don't want to see what he's up to next year.
Yeah.
You were undeniable.
Thank you.
Yeah, you became undeniable.
Thanks.
Which it takes time, and that's why it's that.
Exactly.
Are you still undeniable?
I should hope so, because as I've said, everything is riding on this episode of this podcast.
Yeah, this is. So far, you're doing great.
Do not deny me.
All the industry is here in the audience. Sung Ki, what can you get him? So it's amazing because you were an undeniable performer, from writing to perform, like everything. And then Shannon O'Neill at UCB decided to step down, and that opening came at UCB. How did all of a sudden your vision shift to that?
I don't know if it's shifted to that. I don't know if it's a vision shift.
Or how did that?
It was more like Michael needs a job. Michael would be good at this job. So in addition to all the other things Michael does, might as well apply for this job, because I think I'm uniquely qualified for it. I did School of Rock in 2015 and 2016, and then left to go write on that show Throwing Shade in LA. And when I came back, just, things weren't connected. Like, I just wasn't booking stuff like to sustain myself. After like 2 years of like, I don't need to worry about where money's coming from, to suddenly being like, well, where the hell is money going to come from? It was tough, especially because like I did a Broadway show and then I wrote on TV. I wrote comedy on TV. That was like my dream. So then to have neither thing suddenly going on, I was like, well, what the hell am I going to do? So I subbed a bunch at UCB and then started teaching regular classes at UCB. But again, like that living is very piecemeal. And then there were a couple of TV things I booked, which was super exciting and great. But like, that's not a full living. So then when Shannon was like, I'm going to step down, my two thoughts were, God, I would hate to do that.
But you waited for the second thought.
And the second thought was, well, I need a job and I would be good at this. So I went for it.
What was it that gave you that theater or artistic directing experience outside of performing?
So I just directed a bunch at the theater. I directed a ton of sketch shows. I coached a Herald team. I created the character house team. I co-created that with Justin. So I just felt uniquely experienced in adjudicating sketch, improv, and characters in a way that not a lot of my peers have as much additive experience in.
Yeah, and I assume at that point you probably just knew a lot of the performers and their strengths and how people could work together.
For sure, but certainly much more now.
Oh, yeah.
Like being thrown into it, you realize, oh, I didn't know half of what this person was capable of. So that's been very exciting.
And then you get to push them and kind of see them grow, and it's
yeah, and give them challenges and see if they rise to it.
Yeah. Has performing taken a back seat a little bit with this job, or are you able to kind of work it all in?
A little bit, as I've, I'm 7 months in, so I'm still learning how to do this, and it's a big job. It's big. So yeah, it's taken a bit of my time, and then there's also just been a period of instability at the theater that I've had to kind of be part of and navigate through. Which has taken a lot of time. We had to close a theater and set up a relationship at a new theater. So yes, I haven't been performing as much, but I feel like the light is at the end of that tunnel now. Like I've done a couple shows this week already and feel like a dream.
It's that drug, you get it again, and it feels so good.
Yeah, and I've been writing, and now I feel like I'm going to have even more time to write, so that's good.
Yeah. In the 7 months you've done it, how have you noticed, how has the dynamic of the theater changed in that 7 months?
Well, I think the main thing that has changed is we all kind of know what our current situation is a little more than we did before, which is just that it has to be kind of an all hands on deck, we're all in this together experience, because if we're not all in this together, then we're sunk.
I mean, that's like improv rule right there. That's like
Sure.
it's the same dynamic, but now in a business setting.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
Because you have that you have one person in an improv team who wants to be selfish or not play with the team, and it throws the whole thing off.
Yes. So I think that though we've gone through some ups and downs in this 7 months, I feel like the community has rallied together, and we feel like in this together in a way that's exciting.
Yeah, I will say, because I mean, I took improv classes there 5-6 years ago, and I loved it. It was great. There was a community. As a stand-up, though, I always felt I had to branch out elsewhere. But as I've been going back to the new theater, which is amazing, and going to those shows and checking out, it's amazing how the vibe, like everyone's friends, and it's just people are just like excited for other people's success, which in some areas of the industry you don't always see.
Yeah. Yes, that is a very exciting thing about the community, is that we celebrate each other's successes. We then go and freak the hell out at home, like the psychopaths we all are. But we're able to say that both of those things can be true. I am very jealous that I don't have this awesome thing that this person just got, but I am thrilled for this person. Which is a nice thing to be able to learn how to do.
It is such a balance, and from every comic we've talked to, or I've talked to, that even people be like, "How could you be jealous of someone?" And someone's always jealous of somebody, and it's
man,
That's sort of normal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I guess so.
It just seems very inhibiting behavior that you can be aware of and stop, but it is so hard to stop because
I can't stop.
The nature of
you think it's so easy to stop?
No, and I like hypothetically it should be.
No,
but you'll go on Facebook.
Hypothetical doesn't help.
I guess you're right.
I maybe at first I was like, I have to stop being jealous, and then I realized, I'll never stop being jealous. I just have to accept that I'll be jealous, and I can also be thrilled for this person and know that person deserves whatever
it.
That thing is.
It's all good.
You've expanded yourself.
I sure have, yes.
So you're in charge as the director. You have to put a lot of the teams together, right? And you mix them up a lot too, right?
I don't know about a lot, but it does seem that it's been a lot in this first chunk, because I've changed mod teams, Herald teams, Lloyd teams, and now Characters Welcome teams. There used to be just one Characters Welcome team. Yeah, there used to be just one Characters Welcome team, and then just last week I announced that we're going to do 2 this season because there's so many good people.
So you've expanded.
I've expanded. But then I also went from 8 mod teams to 6, so I've also contracted. It's complicated.
But expansions help.
Sure, yeah,
with the contractions too.
Exactly. So there's been so much of that, and now that Characters Welcome is done as of last week, I have a few months to be able to not do that for a while, which is going to be thrilling, because I can
peace.
I can focus on other things that need my attention at the theater.
Like what? I mean, what else do you manage other than the teams?
I mean, every show that's there, I have to sign off on. So every Monday night at 6:00, 2 new shows audition for me, and I have to give feedback on those shows, and that's a big job right there. I'm always trying to make new opportunities for performers, and I'm always trying to figure out new ways to get new audiences into the theater. And when you're sitting in auditions for a full month, that's not the thing that you can focus on at that time. So now all these other projects I can devote a little more time to, which will be nice.
Well, I'm glad you made the time for tonight.
Me too.
Yeah, we really do. Thank you for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
It sounds like an exceptional evening in your usual life.
It is. I've had tacos and a great cupcake.
This has to be better than every other night of your week.
I'm getting a development deal as soon as we stop recording, which is really exciting.
Yeah, this episode comes out tomorrow, so you don't even have to wait. It's just going to be on your doorstep.
My family comedy about Buffalo will be sold, so I'm very excited about that.
Plus, we can pitch them our 2-man improv show, huh?
Yeah.
Would watch.
We need to figure out
Would
what that's
watch
gonna be.
for sure.
Well, when you're the grandmother, it sort of limits the...
When you're an improviser, you can play whatever you want.
You,
I've played a grandmother. I've played a toddler. I've played a tree. I've been everything. That's the beauty of improv. There's no typecasting. You can play whatever you want.
I have a long way to go for the world to expand for me.
No, you don't have to. The world doesn't have to do anything. It's whatever you make of it.
It's expanding right now.
So yeah, you're too prov. You should never play a grandma.
Yeah.
If anyone's gonna play a grandma, it's gonna be Jeremy.
Yeah. And you would be like the hipster millennial.
I find that hard to believe a switch like that is going to be feasible.
Whew, we gotta show.
Well,
we gotta show her the.
You
magic.
gotta watch a little more improv.
I'm willing.
What makes a good improv team? Like what? Because there's so many good teams. What do you watch when you see that team that just this is special or different?
I mean, I think it's like best practices as far as just teamwork goes, just listening and reacting to each other in the moment. But there's also this unknowable chemistry, and when that group mind takes over, you can see that the sum is greater than its parts, and great teams are better than the 8 people who comprise it.
So
And every once in a while it happens.
Mm-hmm.
We have potential.
You sure do. Absolutely.
Wow. I want to thank you for opening that kind of possibility.
Hey, you're welcome.
And what about as like an individual improviser? Like when you see someone in a team that stands out, even though they're not trying to stand out, how do you see someone or like that person has a special ability in a group?
I think what I look for is like a versatile player, like the people who can play big characters, and explore comedic ideas that way, but who also are a great like neutral like voice of reason in a scene, like knows what a scene needs and does that.
Like a tree.
Like a tree.
Sometimes
that scene needed me to be a tree, baby. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like a tree?
Yeah, he had to.
Sometimes the scene calls
Were you
for
a tree
an
at some point?
anthropomorphic tree.
Have you been an
I've certainly been a tree in an improv scene. I know this because there's definitely a photo of me like putting my arms out
Oh, that was a great tree.
like a branch. Well, there's kind of like a Fosse tree.
A tree with
A
some
tree
sass.
with some flair. I'm not gonna play just any old tree.
Yeah. Who should go to UCB in your opinion, as like in the comedic and like should stand-ups be going to UCB? Should everyone?
Meaning to do shows or to watch shows?
For either, I guess for either. But
I
mainly
guess
to-
any and all. I mean, I think everyone likes to laugh. I've been doing this experiment where on Friday nights, like bi-monthly, my friend Natasha Vainblot and we've been hosting a show called The Sampler, where we take some of like my favorite bits from UCB that, mostly like students and like people in the community go to see. And we put it up on a Friday night when a bunch of tourists are in the theater and see like, does this stuff work in front of a general audience? And guess what? It does. So we're not just making comedy for each other. It's not this like winky in joke, not fun stuff. Like we're looking for, we want content that everybody can enjoy. So like when a multi-generational family from Virginia loves your show, that's super exciting because it means, we really are onto something. We're not just cracking each other up. Like, we can take this stuff out to an audience. Like, this is viable work.
Yeah, it's not just the 3 improv nerds in the city. Like, no, you
Exactly.
can't. And picking every little thing apart.
We can't just be making stuff for them.
Yeah, it's got to be outside of that. Are there, because I remember from when I was going there, it was, again, such an amazing program. But as a stand-up, I felt a little bit like, this is improv sketch world, and I didn't see many stand-ups, and so I felt you have to go elsewhere. Is there any thought of bringing stand-up more into that community?
That right now is a tough one. We just shrunk. We closed UCB East, and we're doing 3 nights at Subculture instead of 7. So when you're, I had to make some big and scary and not fun calls when we went from 14 nights of programming a week to 10. And because we teach improv and sketch, and because we're an improv and sketch theater, a lot of those stand-up shows, unfortunately, had to go. That said, there are still great stand-up shows, particularly at Subculture. Gentrify, I think, is just one of the best variety shows in the city, and has been for years. If You Build It is a great stand-up show. Yeah, it's a great show. Fresh Out's a great show. So like, we still have stand-up. It's just, I needed to keep the best stand-up shows.
Yeah, you can.
And, that involved making a lot of hard decisions.
Yeah. Well, I was even wondering too in the education process, because, you have the sketch, like, could you teach a stand-up course the way you teach sketch and improv, or is it doesn't?
I don't know if it quite translates, and I don't think we're the people to do that. Sure, I think you can write stand-up with UCB's game philosophy in mind, but I don't know.
I used to do that all the
we
time.
think like that's the best way to work for improv and sketch. I don't know if that's necessarily the best way for stand-up.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because you said you moved here to the city and you got that structure in that class, and it was like that. And when I moved here wanting to do stand-up, it was like, where do I go?
Yeah.
And you don't have that, so you are flailing around the city.
Yeah, that sounds scary.
Yes, it's terrifying.
You should have learned a whole bunch of other stuff all at the same time.
Yeah, I should have gone to the American Comedy
Short
Institute.
form improv.
Yeah. Instead, I was studying finance in college. What are you gonna do? Should everyone take an improv class, even non-performers? Is that? I feel like
no.
You don't think so?
If you don't want to.
But isn't there like it helps you with conversation. It can help you in business. Like, and I understand they don't have to take it to level 4, but just to take one class to put themselves out of their comfort zone.
Yeah. Yes. I'll say this. I think that taking an improv class would be helpful to everyone.
Okay,
but I don't think that people should do things they don't want to do.
That's a good point. Maybe it's too late for you to take a class?
Never. Get in there, girl.
The world keeps opening up if you know how to look at it.
Exactly.
You put together a couple recent showcases, the I Am Cool showcase.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we did. We did
I
research.
can't believe how much you know.
Oh, a lot of my life has been looking you up on the internet.
Wow. I am
Hartney,
terribly sorry.
It's Michael Hartney, porn, Michael Hartney.
You've got porn in your
You
deck,
have
too?
asked me no questions about porn, and I'm insulted.
Could I ask a porn question?
Yes, you absolutely may.
Tell me how to ask it.
Ask what?
A porn question for you to elaborate on.
I don't know how much I want to elaborate on
Ask him what his favorite kind of porn is.
I mean, you could ask me what my favorite kind of porn is, and I don't know if anyone wants to know that.
I do.
That's just be a whole different podcast, and then, HR from my job would get involved.
Yeah, people just like, this guy's great. This guy's great. I like 10 guys.
Yeah. Oh, this took a turn. which is also the name of my favorite porn. So,
Your favorite porn is?
what's that?
Your favorite porn is?
My favorite porn has no title.
Yes.
It may never. I don't know.
But it does involve tacos and cupcakes. That's all.
Let's talk about those I'm Cool showcases.
Yeah. I want to go. I am cool showcase. So you had a lot of industry there. What was the process of picking who was going to perform and what they would perform?
I mean, it's just, I really liked this piece. I think I would like more eyes on it. I didn't invent the I'm Cool showcase. It's been around a long time at UCB. It's great. But I knew that I could. It was really exciting to be able to curate one because I've seen so much stuff at the theater, and I know what's been working and what certainly what I like, but also what audiences are liking. So I knew that I wanted to show characters. I knew I wanted to show sketches. I wanted to have really funny stand-ups, and I wanted to show industry that now that we've moved to Hell's Kitchen, we are a theater. We do theater. And there's a lot of really good musical acts, for example, and I wanted to because I think some of that is the most exciting stuff going on at the theater. I wanted to show a lot of that too. So yeah, it was really fun. And I was very nervous, which is hilarious because
You're not even
I was
performing.
not in that showcase,
You're
boy.
in the audience.
I was not in that showcase at all. I was up in the tech booth. But I was up at that tech booth and I was like, God, I hope this is good. I hope they think it's as good as I think all this stuff is. And both nights just crushed, man. It was super exciting. And a bunch of our performers and writers have gotten a lot of attention from it afterwards. And that's exactly what this is for.
Yeah, you're getting
So
them
it
together
was
and giving them the opportunity.
it was great. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do it again.
Is there anything you do differently, or?
It would be all new acts.
Well, same show every year, forever.
I think if I had to do anything differently, it would just be to make sure that everyone on the showcase needed to be seen. There were probably a couple of people on the showcase who were doing just fine and don't need a bunch of industry on them because they may already know them. I tried to do my best to only have people who were really fresh and haven't had this exposure yet. And I would just make sure that those I's were dotted and T's were crossed just even more next time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great because when I was auditioning for JFL, you'd see this person. It's she's a writer for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Was just on Conan a couple weeks ago. Why do you need this? What are you doing?
Yeah,
here?
why do you need this? How dare you?
And you're well, this would be a not cool, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, that's when people who are already series regulars on shows are on the SNL showcase with you, and you're like, no, dude, go back to set. Continue to collect your residge.
I love that. I'm glad that you're doing that though. I think more people should have that mindset. Give the fresh people the chance.
Well, also industry doesn't want to see the same people they've seen a bunch of times. Maybe I'm not. I think I'm correct. They want to see the new people who they haven't seen before.
Yeah.
To get excited about. So
totally. UCB is known for giving back a lot, and they offer scholarships to groups of people for diversity and over 40.
Yeah.
How do people apply to that? When can they apply to that? How do you get into that? We're asking for Dev, obviously.
I'm over 40.
Jeff, I've heard. So our someone who works at our school, Eric Chenoy, is in charge of the diversity program. And he just did all the interviews and just gave out all the scholarships for this part of the year. and I think he does it twice a year. So I think later on in the year he'll do another round of interviews and grant scholarships. But it's amazing.
Yeah. Have you noticed more diversity in the theater?
Oh my God. Truly, when I first started taking classes and seeing shows, there were maybe 2 people of color on all of Herald Night. And that was the only group of teams there were. And there were 2 gay guys. So there were 2 gay guys and 2 people of color. That is unheard of now. That'd be so unacceptable now, and that's great. Do we have such a long way to go? Of course, but I think that the diversity program in particular has really helped in developing talent that wouldn't normally get an opportunity to take classes. So, yeah, it's been great.
I love it. What's your vision? What's the future hold for the UCB theater?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, hopefully I'll get a job soon and leave real quick. I'll leave that future to someone the hell else.
Remember, you got the podcast. It's all good. It's all good.
I think the future of UCB is yes, continuing in that vein of like, I think like the more just in the way that people with more life experience become better artists because they have more than one frame of reference. I think that more voices and more points of view make comedy and theater, and I think it makes everything better because again it's that thing of the sum being greater than its parts. So if we're this homogenized group, we're not going to be surprising, we're not going to be exciting. So I think like, yeah, the future is just, we're going to be more surprising and more exciting because we're constantly going to represent more and more voices.
I love it.
Yeah. We're applying for the next opening in your classes. He and I, since I'm his grandmother, and he's my grandson.
Is that right?
Yeah.
My grandparents would hate that so much. If my grandmas were still alive, they'd be like, "Shut up, bitch! That's my grandson."
Shut up, bitch!
One of my grandmas would be like, "How dare you?" And one of my grandmas would be like, "Take him."
I love it. Last question. In your opinion, what is the key to becoming an undeniably sought-after, talented performer?
Oh my God.
Undeniably. It's a tough question.
If I knew, I would
Be not here.
not be vying for this development deal. I truly think it's about stopping worrying about the things you have no control over.
How do you know those?
How do you know what you don't have any control over?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess
How do
I've
you
just
know what you do have control over?
I think it's about knowing yourself.
I'm asking a lot.
I guess, but I think the answer is like knowing yourself. So I think once you know yourself, A, you know your voice, and then B, you know what you can control and what you can't. So if you're just doing you, that means you're being authentically yourself, and you're not worried about the external things that you can't change. Yeah, I think that's
how
the
many
key.
people achieve that?
Oh, like 6, like ever. Truly,
And 3 of them
truly,
are sitting
like
at this
6
table.
people ever.
6. No one here is included, right?
Yes, it's just In Sync and Meryl Streep.
That's a team name. NSYNC and Meryl Streep.
Yeah. Well, it's
What's
hard.
NSYNC?
A boy band in the late 90s.
Oh.
Feel very privileged that you don't have to know that.
Yeah, your ignorance is truly bliss.
The
I
blissest.
bring a lot of that.
All right, so we're going to play some games. And
Something to look forward to.
Yes.
yes, so we're gonna do a cold read. I picked 2 scenes from 2 movies that I thought the scenes were very funny, and we're just gonna cold read. So you're gonna read for your character, you'll read for yours, you'll read for mine, and we'll see how it goes.
Let's do it. Forget the games. I want real food. Steak, eggs.
Eat your heart out, you wrinkled, crinkled fat bag.
You're very ill-mannered.
You're a slug-eating worm.
Come on, Peter, you can do better than that.
You're encouraging that?
Show me your fastball, dust brain. You paunchy, sag-bottom puke pot.
Bangarang, Rufio!
You're a very poor role model for these kids, you know? You don't even have 4th grade reading level.
Hemorrhoidal suck navel.
Or maybe a 5th grade reading level.
Oil-dripping, beef-fart-sniffing bubble butt.
Someone has severe caca mouth. You know that?
You are a fart factory. Slug slime sack of rat guts and cat vomit, cheesy scab-picked, pimple-squeezing finger bandage. A week-old maggot burger with everything on it. And flies on the side.
Substitute chemistry teacher.
Come on, Rufio, hit him back.
Mung tongue,
Math tutor.
pinhead,
Prison barber.
mother lover,
Nearsighted gynecologist.
in your face, camel cake.
In your rear, cow derriere.
Lying, crying, spying, prying, ultra pig.
You lewd, crude bag of pre-chewed food, dude.
Bangarang, Peter!
You man, stupid man.
If I'm a maggot burger, why don't you just eat me? You two-toned, zebra-headed, slime-coated, pimple-farming paramecium brain, munching on your own mucus, suffering from Peter Pan envy.
What's a paramecium brain?
I'll tell you what a paramecium is. That's a paramecium. It's a one-celled critter with no brain that can't fly. Don't mess with me, man. I'm a lawyer.
Could you tell me who wrote this?
I don't know who wrote it, but that was from the movie Hook with Robin Williams, and you would have been a great Rufio. That's all I know.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and Julia Roberts has nothing on your tank.
I've wanted that since I was a little boy. So
There
thank
it
you.
is. There it is.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, we got one more scene we're gonna do.
This is porn, though. Those who want to leave can leave.
Great.
Did you just call this porn?
The one that's coming up, not the one that
Oh,
was.
good. My favorite thing about porn is the text.
All right, so you all know your characters, and we'll just play it out.
I mean, what are we going to tell the girls? Sorry, we couldn't do what we promised because we're dickless incompetent? Now we're never going to bone because of that little used tampon Fogel. How did he get in this state? He's got shit for brains. Shit, how else can we get liquor?
Yo, guys, what's up?
Where have you been?
Yeah, you almost gave me a goddamn heart attack. Let me see it. Did you pussy out or what?
Nah, man, I got it. It's flawless. Check it.
Hawaii, okay, that's good. Hard to trace, I guess. Wait, you changed your name to McLovin? McLovin? What kind of stupid name is that, Fogel? What are you trying to be, an Irish R&B singer?
Well, they let you pick any name you want when you get there.
And you landed on McLovin?
Yeah, it was between that or Mohammed.
Why the fuck would it be between that or Muhammad? Why didn't you just pick a common name like a normal person?
Mohammed is the most commonly used name on earth. Read a fucking book for once.
Fogel, have you ever actually met anyone named Mohammed?
Have you ever actually met a guy named McLovin?
No, that's why you picked a dumb fucking name.
Fuck you.
Give me that. You look like a future pedophile in this picture, number one. Number two, it doesn't even have a first name. It just says McLovin.
What? One name? One name? Who are you, Seal?
Hold on, this ID says you're 25 years old? Why didn't you just put 21, man?
Seth, listen up, ass face. Every day, dozens of kids roll into the liquor store with their fake IDs, and every one of these kids just happens to be 21 years old. Just how many 21-year-olds do you think there are? It's called fucking strategy, all right?
Let's stay calm. Let's not lose our heads. It's a fine ID. It's gonna work. It's passable. It's not terrible. They'll either think, oh, it's another punk kid with a fake ID, or look, it's McLovin, the 25-year-old Hawaiian organ donor. Okay, so what's it gonna be?
I am McLovin.
You are such a good cold reader.
Unbelievable.
You are so good.
I entered into it totally.
Oh, Dev, that was fantastic. And thank you for playing along with that.
Please, of course.
Yeah, that was obviously from Superbad, if you didn't know.
You don't know super bad.
Another one added to the list.
It's funny.
My list is so long.
Yeah, it is.
It goes out into the hall of what I need to experience.
Yeah, well, we'll chip away whatever we can get
I
through.
appreciate it.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks so much for having me.
You've been
everyone.
making this a more fun evening than usual.
Well, I appreciate that.
other
Likewise.
Guest would love that. Everyone go, if you're in New York, check out the UCB Theater. Go check out a show there.
Yeah.
Any new shows you're excited about?
I'd like to go.
You're in. This is for the audience.
You
now.
gotta go.
You're
I
coming.
haven't been.
Yeah, you gotta go. So now I'm co-hosting. There's 2 Characters Welcome teams, but I'm co-hosting the one that's the last Thursday of every month at 7:30 at UCB Hell's Kitchen. So you'll get to see me host, and I'll be putting up some new characters.
Ooh.
So you'll help
We're
me.
in.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll work that out for you.
You'll go.
We will.
You'll go with me.
Yeah, I'll go with you.
Yeah. If you like musicals, then I also do musical improv with a group called Rumple Teaser on
Never
Monday
heard
nights.
of a musical improv.
Well, it happens. It's crazy.
The world keeps developing in ways I don't know.
I know.
Well, that does it for today. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Remember, you can download, subscribe, and rate the podcast on Himalaya. Go to Himalaya, download the app. It's an amazing podcast app. We're up there. Leave a review if you feel so inclined, and we'll be back next week. But in the meantime, everybody, remember, stay happy, stay funny.
Stay alive.
Bangarang, Peter.
Yay!
We did it.